And now it's time for Nerd Talk with Slider, Brandon, and Ryan.
Hey guys, what's up? It's here, me, Slider, with the M Cluster, and it is time for another episode of Nerd Talk. I'm here again with Brandon.
Hey guys.
And I'm also with Ryan.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Ryan Pyro? Is that what you want to?
Yeah, just Todd Pyro.
Todd Pyro?
Yeah, just start calling me by my my online gamer tag or whatever.
All right. So tonight we are talking. Oh wait, actually, before we talk about that, Brandon, you went to Halloween Horror Nights. Tell us a little bit about that.
I got to see I think 5 of the 8 houses. It was pretty decent this year. There was only one house that I didn't really like, but the others were pretty good. I saw uh, what is it? Ash versus Evil Dead. I saw something called The Fallen. Uh, let's see what else was there. Oh man, I wish I had the map in front of me still. But nonetheless, most of the houses were pretty good. Oh, Shining was the other big one. The Shining was probably the best house. It was very very well themed. You saw all the major points to it. The twins, the red room, the axe in the door, outside where he's still chasing Danny, the naked woman in the tub. So uh, the scare zone, the trick or treat zone was pretty good. They had the purge again. The purge was kind of whatever. It was kind of actually was worse this year, I would say, than other years. The other zone was around the Simpsons area, and most of those people were just chainsaws. They were actually pretty decent. One of them managed to make me jump because I was looking up at the Simpsons ride, and someone kind of jumped in front of me without me seeing. So I got to see Amanda jump a couple times. That was fun in one house, and it was a good time. I wish you guys could have gone.
Yeah, we didn't. I couldn't. I had some obligations to deal with that night, and Ryan's, well, a family man.
Hey, I'm trying to be.
All right. Well, tonight we are, since in the theme of Halloween, since we talked about Halloween Horror Nights and all, we are talking about Happy Death Day, which we saw in theaters this week, and I think we have some varying opinions on this. So I'm going to go ahead and let Brandon say his piece first.
I thought it was very mediocre. I thought it was okay. Uh, the main actress or the main character, she was a girl in college and she was a bitch. She was in a sorority and she was just your typical like cheerleader bitch type person. And she was not likable at all. In the first 5 minutes, I was able to call out who the killer was. I knew it was going to be one of two people, and so there was no surprises when it happened to be one of them. And so, like, I give it a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. All right, Ryan, what about you? What did you think of it?
Oh, I thought it was enjoyable. I think it was funny when it was meant to be funny. I mean, there were some things that weren't meant to be funny that were funny, and I don't know. For those who haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. But the premise of the movie is a hybrid of a comedy slasher flick and Groundhog Day, where the main character Tree is reliving her birthday over and over again after she gets killed. And every time she comes back, she's trying to figure out who her killer was. And like you said, Brandon, you guessed who the killer was within the first 5 minutes. I had a feeling it was that person, but then again, I feel like it led. They tried to lead you into believing it was other people, and I fell for it. I don't know if it's because I'm blonde or
I don't know. I mean, I saw that they tried to lead you to believe that it was other people. I just think they didn't do a very good job at it. Um, I are we doing spoilers? Or
Fuck
no?
yes, we're doing spoilers.
All right.
Oh, damn it.
Her roommate, like, she was super upset when she didn't take the cupcake, and not just because of it. It was also just the fact that she did it in a very bitch-like way at first.
Yeah, but all the girls in her sorority, aside from that one girl who was listening to K-pop on the stairs, everyone else was a bitch to her, and they were a bitch to each other. So it fit within that character's design to
Well,
be a
hold on.
bitch to her.
Before we start doing the back and forth, I want to get my piece in because it was. I actually enjoyed this movie, but this is not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. I had fun watching it because I was laughing at it, not laughing because of it.
Well, yes, I'll agree with you there. I laughed at it, and that was okay.
Yeah, that was fun. But it starts off as this with a genuinely unlikable character. Like you said, she is a bitch. But that tells me she actually did a good job in the role of, like playing the character because she was meant to be unlikable, right? And like you generally don't give a shit about this character because she's such a cunt, right? And I'm sure that pissed somebody off. But as it goes on, it turns into this like strange tale of redemption as she goes through her little Groundhog Day iterations. Right? She's trying to figure out who did it, and then she realizes that she's not a great person, and she starts dealing with stuff. There's a genuinely touching moment that choked me up between her and her dad when she's like, "Yeah, I mean that I thought that scene was really well done, really well. I mean, really,
I think it was really well acted too.
Yes, I think the acting was good in this movie. Now the lead character was the standout, but I thought overall the acting was pretty good. I think this movie accomplished exactly what it set out to. But then they went and gave it that twist ending, which was kind of stupid in my opinion, with who the killer was, because there's a couple things there. One, they go out of their way to tell you that every injury she sustains when she gets killed, she carries over with her when she wakes up.
In some form or fashion,
yeah.
That had nothing to do with anything in the story. Like, why did they even bring that shit up? Right?
Because they felt like it.
I feel like they brought it up because that put more weight on how many more times she could die. And whenever her significant other, who she would never have looked at the beginning of the movie and who she really enjoyed spending time with at the end of the movie, died, she's like, I have to die again to ensure that he lives because he saved me. And take whatever injuries or permanent damage that can basically be incurred by that.
Okay, I can see that. So there's a cost to
her saving him.
Her saving him. Well, not just her saving him, her dying over and over. There is a cost to it, which I guess does add a little more gravity to it. So that makes a little bit of sense.
And it explains a little bit more why she's more easily overpowered, like in physicality. Like in the beginning of it, she was fighting him back a little bit, like in the party scene. But towards the end of her death, she was super, like, dying stupid ways that you could easily fend off.
I don't know. In the end, I think it's a fun movie to watch. I don't regret paying for it, but I certainly wouldn't watch it again in theaters. If it came on cable, I'd probably, watch it in the background or something, or maybe to talk to somebody about it. But it's a decently made film that I think just missed the mark on being good.
The other thing that bothered me was, I think, the time, her last night alive or whatever, where she broke into the hospital and took the cop's gun and then managed to go eat her cupcake with the boy. How do you just walk out of that situation when you take the cop's gun and murder someone?
No fucking consequences whatsoever. You're right. That part of the story made absolutely no sense. But I will say this. Absolute best fucking moment in this movie. Ryan, what is it?
Shit. Fuck.
At the very end.
My favorite part of that
yes.
at the end?
We talked about this. Come on, man.
Oh, I can't remember. There's almost a week ago. You go
The
your
movie flat
oh
out admit.
yeah, and where it calls out Groundhog Day.
Yes, they're like, this is a Groundhog Day ripoff.
This is exactly like Groundhog Day. And she goes, "What's Groundhog Day?"
Right, they incorporated into the story, even though like everybody that, well, not everybody, because not everybody's seen Groundhog Day, but most people that see Groundhog Day are like, all right, this is a lot like Groundhog Day. The fact that they called it out, I thought was a excellent choice. It was funny, and it was the movie saying, hey, we know what we did, but we did it anyway, so deal with it. And I thought that was good.
She didn't know what Groundhog Day was, too. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was
He's like, have you been living under a rock?
I also thought it was funny. I said I like that too, but I also thought it was funny when he tried to prank her as well. I thought that was pretty good.
Oh, the last day or the next day.
And he was like ready for it. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's fucked up.
That was fucked up. That's not a normal thing. Like, you got to be kind of twisted to pull that off. And I think it was great though. So overall, like I said, I liked the movie. I can't exactly say go see it, but
I could say go see it once, but like you said, it doesn't have the repeatability as a better movie would have. But I think that's pivotal on the storyline being, once you know who the killer is, it loses that whodunit scenario.
Right. And I, like Ryan, I figured it out in the beginning, but then I fell for some of the misdirects. I was like, oh. And actually, the funny thing was, when I figured out who it was, I was a little annoyed. Then when I thought it was the serial killer, I was like, well.
Oh, it's all done.
It's all done. It's all wrapped up in a bow.
I was thinking, I'm like, okay, so it's the serial killer, but it's also going to be her because she works at the hospital, and there's like, that's how you have your two killers, just like in Scream.
Yeah, but what I was going to say was that when I fell for the misdirect of it being the serial killer, I actually got aggravated because I was like, well, that's a fucking normal trope. Like, right? So the fact that it wasn't, actually, I was happy about that in the end. But one of the things they never got into is how she ended up getting into this situation where she could do this over and over and over, come back from death, basically. And two, why doesn't the killer remember that she's done it over and over and over? Why is she the only one?
Well, the same reason for Bill Murray. This is the same reason Bill Murray was the only one to remember every day.
Maybe it had something to do with her mom dying on the same day, but I mean, they like you said, they didn't really go into it that deep in depth. But I think I had heard that they're doing a sequel, but it's going to be very different.
Yeah, because I mean, to do the whole dying all over over and over again thing, like, and this is kind of a strange thing to wonder, but like, if I was her, I'd wonder, if I died now after I figured out all this stuff, do I stay dead?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, does she still have this ability? I mean,
you have the balls to test it.
Exactly.
If they go through and do a sequel, I would probably go see it in theaters because I would just be interested. I'd just be interested in seeing what they do with it because they could go in like 1,000 different directions. We just went into a bunch of different directions.
If we were to get a sequel for this movie, in the trailer, it's going to tell you something about how the story's going to work, and if it's going to work the same fucking way, I don't think I'd go see it. But that's just me. But I really enjoyed watching it, but not a good movie. It just kind of misses the mark. But the acting is good. I think if they do a sequel and get better at it, then possibly, like, if I hear people talking about it saying, well, this is better than the last one, they upped their game, whatever, then there's a good chance I'd actually go and see it. Right. So
same here. Like I said, I give it a 4 out of 10. I mean, like I said, I thought it was okay.
Right. I guess if I'm gonna do if we're gonna do a scale here, this is gonna get 1.5 nerds. 1.5 nerds out of 3.
Out of 3.
Out of 3.
So that's that. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. If I do 1.5 nerds out of 3, that means I'm grading it better than Brandon.
Yes, you're
Yes,
grading it
okay.
as at a 5 out of 10.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Math, people. All right. And now we're going to talk about a Netflix movie that no one has seen except Ryan. So,
The Babysitter. If you guys didn't like Happy Death Day, you guys are gonna hate The Babysitter because the plot is horrible, like horribly thin. It reminds me of Home Alone. It reminds me of Home Alone.
Okay.
in what way?
In what way? So we're doing spoilers, right? So
Yeah.
I'll just explain to you guys the plot. All right. So this kid who's like 12 is like getting bullied by kids at school, and he gets like defended by his babysitter, and his babysitter's like hanging out with them, and they're sharing nerd jokes and stuff about Star Wars and Star Trek, and like creating like a perfect team of like explorers that they would explore the universe with, and they're bonding and shit. And so his best friend is saying, "Hey,
Hey.
oh, sorry, pop up. We're saying, hey, what happens after you go to sleep?
Squirrel!
She probably brings like guys over to the house. So he stays up instead of just falling. Well, she hands him a drink, an alcoholic beverage, and he's too chicken to drink it, so he pours into a plant or whatever, and then he stays up, sees that she's like invites a bunch of people over to the house. She kills one of them, and then sees that they're doing it for like a cult, like a demonic cult thing. And then after he sees that, they figure out that he was watching them, so they tie him up, and then it becomes Home Alone.
Interesting.
So he's trying to like
the kid and the
hide
babysitter.
him.
The kid and the babysitter both tie up the people that were killing people.
No, she's like the leader of the cult.
Oh, so the babysitter herself is the evil one.
Yeah.
Okay. And
So then it goes into like the Home Alone where he's trying to like rig up traps and stuff because he can't overpower them.
Okay. Is it just the kid?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I got you now. I thought he was like
So
All
the
right.
babysitter is the bad guy, the antagonist.
Yeah, along with 4 other people.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. Did you like Home Alone?
Yes, I love Home Alone.
I really liked Home Alone.
I think that's one of the stupidest movies ever made.
Oh, come on.
Especially, and
That's I'm out.
they fucking get worse and worse as the series went along.
Oh, they do get worse and worse.
That movie's idiotic.
The third and however many else there may be, I don't know, were bad. The first 2 with Macaulay Culkin, those 2 were good.
The first one was mildly entertaining. The second one was shit.
Ridiculous.
The third one, I was like, forget it. I'm not watching these anymore.
The second one is how the fuck do you forget your kid a second time?
Yes. It just, I mean, I'm okay at suspending my belief about this stuff, but just some of the stuff they did in the movie was just stupid. The kid wasn't that slick. The fucking criminals were indestructible. I did not like that movie. So
Well, in the babysitter, they're not indestructible. He like kills them.
okay, good.
Like he blows one up with like a fire. Like it's stupid with a firework and like bug spray.
Nice. So if you had to give this a grade, what's the grade?
Oh, out of 10 or out of nerds?
Out of whatever scale you want to use.
Out of nerds, 0.5.
0.5.
Oh my god.
0.5 out of 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe 1 if you were really drunk.
That's even worse. That's like a 1.5 or a 2 out of 10.
And once again, thank you, math.
That's right. It's way worse than a Happy Death Day.
Just go spend the $6 or whatever it is and see it in the matinee of Happy Death Day. If yes, you're gonna have a better time.
Oh, I was actually gonna. I was when you said spend $6. I'm like, wait a minute, this piece of shit's not out in theaters. Because you said it was on Netflix. All right. So, all right. So that's our movies for this week. We are going to do something a little different here. We're doing a segment that we're calling Memoriable, where we just kind of go through and pick some memes that we thought were funny for the week. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys see mine. So my memes this week are all about porgs because we recently got the Star Wars trailer, and they introduced these silly little animals. So I just think they're funny as hell. They're obviously the next versions of the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi, but people are going crazy about these things. There's a hashtag called Porg Nation, and there's just all these porgs. So like here we have a porg rendition of the Scream, because obviously the Scream that he does in the trailer, right? Then we got someone doing a rendition of The Shining with the porg being there with Shelley Winters, which I think is fucking hilarious and kind of creative, right? Then you got Porkins, which I just thought that was funny because in Star Wars, there's this character that dies in the first movie, and he does so selflessly, but he's like this fat guy, and his name is Porkins, and I think that's just messed up. But the Porkins meme, I think, was actually pretty funny. So then the last one we got here is actually sort of porg related. It's more in the area of the Gray Jedi. We got Luke Skywalker here taking his first steps into being a Gray Jedi, and his first step was to kick a fucking porg off a cliff. And I just thought those were kind of funny. All right, so Ryan, we're gonna go into yours. So get your first one here.
The first one, the vape one?
Yes.
It was funny that you said there's a hashtag for Vape Nation because Porg Nation, because immediately I was thinking about Vape Nation.
Yeah, Vape Nation.
And I thought it would just be funny since me and Brandon have been vaping some of the podcasts.
So
I thought that one was pretty good too. My dad doesn't mess around with this motherfucker vapes in his sleep.
Yep. All right, and then we got your second one here, Ryan.
Oh, I just thought that was just a funny Star Wars meme. And then they brought in the Golden Girls.
And
Sophia.
the thing is, it does kind of look like her.
What's her name?
It really, Sophia.
I know it's Sophia from the Golden Girls, but I don't know Star Wars.
Mascanada. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I just think it's funny is like how much it does actually look like her. So all right, we're going to Brandon's. Got your first one, Brandon.
Which one is that? I didn't actually have them numbered.
Oh, your what could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Oh yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny because I don't know, I'm a child still, so seeing that I just started laughing at it. I chuckled, so I thought it was funny. But like I said, I'm a child, so.
Right.
That's the Marvel one, right?
No. It's the one where he's like, picture day, feel great, wearing my new American Eagle T-shirt. What could go wrong? And it's his yearbook picture, and it just says fag, because the eagle got cut off.
Right. Then your next one is Cumberbatchable.
Oh yeah, see, that's funny just because it's so goddamn awful and it annoys the shit out of me at the same time.
Why is this more annoying than any of the other ones that are out there?
Because it's all just, I don't know. It's all wrong.
It's six different freaking platforms.
Properties.
And I like all of them, and it's like, God damn it. And the thing is, I bet some people that don't know these series they would just be, oh, okay, yeah, that's what it is.
Oh my God, I would fucking die to hear someone actually quote this as if it was from something real. All right.
Someone reads it and goes, I don't remember Gandalf in Chronicles of Narnia.
All right, so now we're up to your Marvel meme.
That's just good because I can see Thor saying that. If it's not readable in the video, it starts off with Thor saying, "Friend Natasha, I'd like to extend to you an invitation to the pants party," and she's just looking over at him like, "Excuse me?" And then Thor's like, "The party with the pants," and she's like, "Thor, are you saying there's a party in your pants and I'm invited? Did Clint and Tony ask you to say this, Thor?" No. Yeah, they did. Okay, I don't want to go to the party in your pants. Very well. Friend Steven, would you like to go to a party in my pants?
Now,
It's like I could see that on Cartoon Network on one of those late night shows.
I'm thinking the no could go one of two ways. He's like, no, wait, yes, because that makes it not my fault. All right, and then our last one, Brandon,
The last one,
the alien.
yeah, I'm pulling it up. Was another Porg related thing. I thought this was pretty good. Just because Alien Covenant just came out a few months ago, and the Porgs do seem awful cute, and it was funny to see a cute thing bursting out of his chest.
We know they have like razor sharp teeth, right?
Yeah, but still,
Yeah, I'm hoping to see a fucking Porg just like wreck shop in this movie.
that would be hilarious.
I want to
That
see a
would make
Porg
it even
kill something.
better.
So that's memorable. If you guys have any memes that you think are funny that you want to submit, you can send them to us, and maybe we'll work them into future episodes.
Did we discuss doing a victor for them, like doing a meme off?
I suppose we could, if you wanted to pit them against each other, and have people vote for it. So, if you want to cast a vote for which meme you thought was the funniest, go ahead and leave a comment, and we'll acknowledge it if there's a winner or a comment.
Overall, I think Porg wins.
So, all right. So we're gonna move on to our TV segment. This week we're talking about DC TV, and I had planned on talking about all of the season openers, but one of them stood out above the rest because something pretty big happened. In Arrow, they've done something. Supposedly, it's not a gimmick. It's going to stick for the remainder of the series. I don't see how they're going to do it, but Oliver Queen has given up the mantle of Arrow. He's no longer going to be the Arrow in the show Arrow. And
yeah,
I don't see how that's going to work out because, I know in the comics, there have been different people that have taken the mantle of the Arrow, just like different people have taken, the cowl as Batman or whatever. But in this TV series, I don't feel like there's enough history or enough. I don't think people are going to give it enough leeway and buy the character that's taking over as Arrow is his sidekick Diggs, and I know you guys really don't watch the show, but it's a good character, and if he were going to do anything else, I probably wouldn't have a problem with it. But the fact that he's taking over the title role, I'm not sure how that's going to work out. And I don't know how Oliver Queen's going to relate to the story anymore. Is he going to stay active with them just behind the scenes? Is he not going to be part of it at all? I'm not sure. But
maybe they'll kill Diggs in the end of the season.
Well, according to an article I read today, this is a change that is going to stick. It's not a gimmick. It's not a joke. This is how the show is going to be from now on. And I thought that's not only a bold choice, but it impacts everything, because the way they're doing it on the TV series, you have Arrow, Supergirl, and Flash are all kind of interwoven. So this means it affects all three shows, and they're all going to have to deal with this. So it's a big choice, and I think it could either work fine or backfire horribly and signify the beginning of the end for the DC television series. So that was kind of the big thing for me this week on TV. And Ryan, we're talking about the trailer for Stranger Things, the Netflix series.
Oh, the final trailer for Stranger Things is weird because it's going to be season 2 will be releasing on the 27th. What
That's
did
not
you,
long.
I want to hear what you guys thought about it,
So
because
here's the thing. I don't really understand the draw of this show. I've seen season 1. It was okay. It's not a bad show. And it's kind of nostalgic in a way because it's, I'm an 80s kid. So, seeing the way they do certain things and some of the references they make are cool. But other than that, it's a mildly entertaining show. It's okay. I don't know why everybody's flipping out over it. And the trailer for season 2, in my opinion, just makes it look like more of the same. I don't think they're going to do anything different. This time they're just going to be dressed as Ghostbusters.
well, season 2 is supposed to be a lot darker than season 1 and a lot more ominous. And
It did look that way from what I was able to see. I did not see season 1. I still intend to, but it was never the premise of the show was never something to really draw me in very much. So that's the reason I haven't yet. Outside of that, this trailer for season 2, because I've seen trailers for season 1, does look to be a little darker. It looks like there might be a little more going on. I've also seen, I think, an interview with some of the actors in between seasons 1 and 2, and they were trying to figure out, like, before they started shooting for season 2, they were themselves trying to figure out what was going to happen.
And I think that's the appeal to the show. It was the appeal for me, is I like the mystery on it. Kind of like, and it's a time period piece for like the Goonies, and I felt the nostalgia for movies like the Goonies. And
All right, Ryan, I'm not going to lie, but the fact that you just compared Stranger Things to Goonies made me die a little inside. Because fucking Goonies is fantastic. You're right. It's an all-time classic.
Why is it all-time classic? Why? Tell me 3 good things about the Goonies that you love.
The truffle shuffle that Chunk does. Hey, you guys!
I literally, just said, yeah.
Okay. And the swashbuckling type action towards the end of the film. It's a classic movie. It's about a bunch of kids having a great time going on an adventure, and it kind of reflects the way that they came up and who they were.
And I feel like you can't just use famous quotes from a movie and be like,
You just asked me for 3 things that I liked.
outside of quotes, outside of things that became, memes, if you will.
Well,
They became memes.
That entire movie is memorable.
But Stranger Things has great actors, great children actors. The story is really well written, and they didn't give away a lot of stuff right away. So you keep watching, and it really pulls you in each episode, going, what are they going to reveal next?
Okay, up until you said it really pulls you in, I agreed with everything you said. It is well acted. It is well written. This reminds me of a movie we talked about when we used to do the long movie discussions called, damn it was Dante's movie. The demon killer Otis. Oh, I can't think of the name of it right now. But at any rate, it was a really well-made film. The acting was great. I thought the story made sense, but I didn't care. It didn't matter to me because I while I can say it was done well, at the end of the movie, I was kind of like, all right, well, whatever. I didn't care about the characters, and I don't care about these kids. I don't care about 11. It's okay to watch them do what they do, but at the end of the day, if they would have killed off 11, or maybe they did kill off 11, who knows? Probably not, because she's coming back in
the second trailer.
Since she's in the trailer, but they made her go away, and I didn't care.
Oh, I cared so much. I was so afraid they killed her off.
So
Are you talking about Frailty?
Frailty, that's the name of the movie. Yes.
Yeah, it was directed by Bill Paxton.
Yes. Bill Paxton. What's his name? The other guy that was in it was not Matthew McConaughey. Was it? It was Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. I mean, these are good actors. It was well written. It was well directed.
Dude, I had to look it up because I couldn't remember the goddamn movie.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it, but it just. But like I said, at the end of the day, I didn't care about any of it.
But at the same time, see now it makes me want to watch it more because I want to see
because I don't like it.
Yes, because there are some movies that we just disagree on, and if this meets up with some of those feelings that I like out of some of the, even though they're newer movies, out of some of these movies like Stardust, I thought it was very endearing. If it gives me that feeling, then I think I might really enjoy it.
There are very endearing moments in season 1.
I'll say this, with the exception of him saying you get pulled in, and I'll come back to that in a moment. If you and Ryan have similar tastes, you're going to feel the same way he does.
It super depends, because I mean, what was that movie last week that? Oh, what was that movie? Blade Runner. Like fucking Brian's like, oh, I don't like Blade Runner. I was like, what? Get the fuck out.
Yeah, I don't see how you can't you don't like Blade Runner.
So I mean,
I don't.
We're not going down that
road. There are some things that me and Ryan share the same interest that you're going to disagree with, and then there's stuff that me and you share the same opinion that Ryan will disagree with. It seems to be how we're going to be.
Okay. Well, the point I wanted to come back to was I did not binge watch it. I watched it one episode, and a friend of mine told me that I should binge watch it. That it makes more sense, that it holds together if you binge watch it. And I'm considering doing that before the second season starts. I'm not really sure if I'm going to, though.
Oh, I'd binge watch it.
I'm probably going to binge watch it once I do get to see it.
So, okay, that actually kind of brings me to another point, not particularly about this show, but about just like shows like this in general. Game of Thrones. Had I not watched Game of Thrones as a binge watch, I don't think I would have liked it as much as I do.
I could see that. Although I will tell people this in regards to Game of Thrones. If you have not seen it yet and you're not already a fan, or perhaps you've only seen the first episode and just no longer cared for it, watch the first, I'm going to say 4 episodes, because those episodes are almost the entirety of it. I mean, a few things happen, but almost the entirety of it is really just introducing you to the different families and characters. And you're not really going to see much happen outside of that.
I still haven't seen it. Remember that?
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
Here's the thing, Ryan. I think if you sat down and watched it, you would really like it.
Oh, yeah.
For multiple reasons that we're not going to get into here. But
Game of Thrones is a show itself.
Yeah. So back to Stranger Things, though. I can say that there's nothing wrong with this movie, the show rather. It's not bad. I'm not saying don't watch it. I'm just saying it doesn't work for me. It doesn't interest me in the way that it seems to just grab everybody else. So maybe I'll do the binge watch and see if I can come around to everybody else's thinking. But I don't know. Right now,
don't worry. That's kind of how I feel about Game of Thrones. Because I read the book. I read the book, and then when I read the book, the first book, and then when the show was coming out and everyone was crazy about it, I was just like,
"Wait, hold up! You didn't like the book?"
Yeah. No, the first one. That's what he clarified that he only read the first one.
But you didn't like the book.
All the other shit that happened.
I was reading better books at the time.
Motherfucker! Stop it. Well, Dresden Files. That's a classic series.
Dresden Files. I think I was listening to one of Simon R. Green's new series. It's not new now, but it was new at the time. The Druid Chronicles. But yeah, I was on other books and I was preoccupied. So I listened to the first one and I didn't get hooked.
It's so good. It's so good.
Have you read all of them?
I have not. I have read some of them, and I've read probably more of the 5th one than the others.
I've read the first 3,
but they're good.
Yeah,
and there are certainly things in there that are not in the show.
Yeah, and I don't see how you can. Those books suck you in.
And I've also definitely read a lot of wiki stuff of the books prior to all of these later seasons happening in the show. So I knew stuff was going to be coming up and what characters were involved and essentially what was going to happen. Obviously, not including this last season because the book's not out.
I don't know. I don't want to get onto we're a giant Game of Thrones talk, but in regards to like the books, I feel like the book was just a little slower paced for me, and that's probably why I didn't like it. Like, if you've read the Wooded Man or any of those type or esque books, I would pick up the book and I'd just read it, and then I'd have to get the next one and read it, and then till I'm done with the series. And I didn't have that same pull and draw to read the next Game of Thrones book.
I'll give you that.
Well, those are
did
some
not
heavy
either.
and dense books. You can't just sit there and read through all of them like that.
I read through
disagree.
all the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books.
Yeah, I disagree
Okay.
because I've read those. Yeah, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I've also read like now I know they start out much easier to read and they're smaller, but the Harry Potter books I've read all of those in just like not even 2 weeks. I can read through all 7 and just pile through them. Same with like the Belgariad by David Eddings, and that's 10 books. I'll read those in just a couple weeks.
Well, so back to TV and Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I have a proposition for you, Ryan.
Yeah.
If you will binge watch the first season of Game of Thrones, I will binge watch a rewatch of Stranger Things season 1.
I think I had this deal with Brandon too that he would watch Stranger Things.
No, that I would watch American Gods.
Oh yes.
Oh, such a good show. Anyway,
that should be next week's discussion. American Gods.
My deal on that still stands. I will watch that first season if you will watch the first season of Game of Thrones.
Okay,
All
we
right,
got a three-way thing here. So
just put that in the title of the video. Three-way.
Three-way for Brandon, Ryan, and the fat guy. So deal? We're gonna do this?
Yeah, deal.
Deadline.
All right.
What's the deadline?
Deadline 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
All right. 2 weeks.
Okay.
In 2 weeks, I will have binge watched the first season of Stranger Things again, and we'll come back to this conversation.
And I will watch American Gods.
Ryan, say it.
I was
Say
just
it.
looking at the calendar. I will watch season 1 of Game of Thrones.
Thank you. Wanted to hear it. Needed it on tape.
Need a pinky promise, Brandon?
Fuck you.
So,
Goddamn pinky. Wait. I told you the story of that night, Jose, right? At DragonCon.
you're going to need to be more specific, sir.
In regards to werewolf.
No. I don't remember anything about a pinky promise.
This motherfucker. So Ryan actually, before DragonCon at least, had this thing with pinky promises. Whether we were playing D&D or like whatever like card game or something like that we'd be doing on game night or at a party, if he pinky promised, he actually meant it. He was like one of those people that actually had the whole trust thing with pinky promises, and you could tell when he was lying if you tried to. He would just burst out laughing. And so we're playing werewolf. I was just a regular villager, and I think there was like 19 of us or something, and we were trying to figure stuff out. Someone admits that they are the seer, and they're like, okay, that person is a werewolf, so we're like, we killed a werewolf, and then we try to tell people how to basically play the game to keep the seer alive, so we can determine who the next one is. We're like, all right, whoever the bodyguard is, protect the seer one night. The next night, who I forget, whatever it was, protect them the next night, and then bodyguard again. And so like we have at least 3 rounds before the seer is going to die, and I was explaining this to people, and I'm like, so we were like, well, who do you want him to check? And they started pointing at, like, oh, check that person. We were like, okay. And I was like, Ryan, you're not a werewolf, right? And he's like, yeah, no, I'm not a werewolf. I'm like, okay, pinky promise that you're not a werewolf. He's like, oh, I pinky promise, and he made a pinky promise. I'm like, and so I'll tell him like, and I explained that it's a thing for him, and not just that, but Nick and Heather are there, and so is Jen. Jen, Nick, Heather, and Trevor, all of them agree with this because they're all playing too. They're like, oh yeah, no, that's a thing for Ryan. He doesn't fuck around with pinky promises, and so that they thought. So then they turn to me and they're like, well, if you're a werewolf, you could just be in cahoots with him and just because and then he would pinky promise you and everything is fine. I'm like, well, that's not what's happening because I'm like, I think something would crack up, and so they kill me. They
We
lynch
lynched
me,
him.
and and they find out that no, so they find out I'm a villager, and so like, oh, so that guy is safe. And
So
so
they
for
didn't
the
check me.
rest
They
of
didn't
the
check me for the
game,
rest of the game.
they didn't even check him. And as soon as I back out of the circle, and I see that when they're like werewolves, pick your head up, and I see Ryan like pick his head up and point to something, I'm like, oh, this motherfucker.
You
And
had to walk away.
I had to walk away because I was like, oh, this motherfucker's gonna get it.
The werewolves won that night, by the way.
The werewolves did fucking win that night.
And because
No.
I was the last remaining werewolf, I won a game. I won Coop.
Yeah,
but
he got a board game out of winning.
You compromised your morals. You've ruined the pinky promise forever.
He fucking did. That's why I was like, no, fuck you. Fuck you and your pinky promises.
Oh, shit. All right. Well, speaking of games, we're going to go ahead and move on here. The first game we're talking about this week is Monster Hunter World, and that's Brandon.
Oh, I'm super excited about that. Monster Hunter World it's a game about hunting monsters. The previous Monster Hunter games were all pretty good. They concentrate very heavily on combat and crafting, but they have little funny things thrown in to keep the game kind of lighthearted, even though you're hunting down giant dinosaurs. Go to the next screen. This one will actually be on PlayStation, which hasn't actually happened since I think like 2004. Yeah, 2004 was when it was actually last on a regular PlayStation console. Uh, the last one on a regular console was not handheld was the Wii in 2010. So it's going to be multiplayer. It's going to be open world. That's going to be the biggest difference in this one. And another big difference is that go to the next one. Is that sometimes when you're fighting a monster, another monster will come in and either attack you or attack the other monster. Now, this has occasionally happened in the previous ones, but it was usually like a big monster will come and eat a tiny one. This one seems to be very different, and it's going to be harder to escape from those situations. I thought another cool thing was go to the next one, that they will actually eat each other now, and you get to see this in full glorious. Well, I guess 4K if you have a PS4 Pro. If I think PS4 does 4 Pro does 4K, right, Ryan?
Oh, no, it does. Yes and no. It does an up resolution.
Well, either way, it's still going to be nice to look at compared to a 3DS, essentially. I think it looks really beautiful. I think the combat's going to be fun. If you go to the next one, you can see here. This is how some of the combat has worked even in previous games. You essentially have, depending on your weapon that you're using, you have a lot of jumping around and a lot of fast-paced combat abilities that you have to use to take down these monsters. Speaking of the weapons, if you go to the next one, there's 14 of them, and I don't think I actually have the list up anymore. But if you go to the next picture, so like if you, actually you can see here, this one is like a sword and what appears to be a shield. If you go to the next picture, that one is a lance and a shield. There's 14 overall. You have dual wielding, you have sword and board, a lance, and they have a charge axe, which lets out like a pulse of energy after you do so many combos. So there's definitely some pretty cool stuff. If you go to the next one, there's also a bow gun, that you can shoot monsters with. And it's all going to be based on how you feel your play style best works out. If you go to the next one, I think that one is a charge lance. But I don't remember exactly what it's called. But oh, switch axe. It even says it on there. Uh, so switch axe is, I think the way they work is they kind of morph in battle. You obviously have your classic two-handed sword if you go to the next one. And then the next one is sword and board. Now, if you go to the next picture, a big thing if you can't take down a monster, you essentially have to run away. And in older games, it used to be not super easy because sometimes they were faster, they'd have abilities to pin you down. But if you zoned out, you were safe. In this, because it's going to be open world, I don't really know how it's going to work yet, but I'm assuming you're probably going to have to run a long way if you can't handle something that's too big for you. Uh, Once you do kill a monster, if you go to the next one, you get parts off them, and these parts are either used to cook or make weapons and armor. Cooking is a very definite big thing in all the Monster Hunter titles, as is the crafting of the weapons and armor. In other games where you kill like a boss or something to get a piece of gear itself, in this case you're killing the bigger monsters for some component of theirs, and then you use that component to craft said weapon or armor. If you go to the next one, another big thing that I noticed was pretty cool is the ability to travel, and you basically have flying dinosaurs fly you around to different areas of the map. I don't know if you get to control these or if it's just going to be along a flight path, but it's still a cool and I think significant change to the series. And if you go to the next one, Jose, I thought this was another cool monster versus monster picture that's going to show some pretty cool things, and I think it's going to be really neat to see some of these battles happen and be involved in them. I'm hoping other people, Brian, will get the game when it comes out.
Yeah, probably will. Is it coming out on PC?
It is, but at a later time. The later time has not been announced yet. It will be on PS4 on January 26th.
Oh, so it's still a little bit of a wait.
Yeah, it's still a little bit of a wait. If I had to guess, I mean, you're probably looking April, May, maybe later for a PC release.
Oh God, that late? And so, I
Yeah,
mean, I can play it
they're
in
not.
4K.
Yeah, they're not done with it. I'm for sure going to get it on PS4, even if they were only a month apart. I would still get it on PS4 first, just because it's on console and I can use a controller. I like for Monster Hunter especially. I want to use a controller. I don't want to use a mouse and keyboard. It's not a shooter.
Yeah, I'd still, I can use my controller on my PC and play it.
True. I mean, if we were to do that and we moved to PC at a later time, I would use my controller as well. But I want to get it on PS4 if we have to wait any more than 2 weeks for a PC release.
All right, so Jose, have you played Monster Hunter before?
I've never even heard of it.
I've heard of it. I know the basics, but can you explain a little bit to clarify for any misconceptions I may have, or let Jose
Yeah.
know what's going on?
So it starts you off. You're usually in some kind of little village, and they give you some BS quests like go kill these tiny little dinky monsters to get some parts, and we'll cook you some food or something. And you usually get sidekicks that are little cats, and they will do things for you. They can go with you and help you fight a monster, or they can fish for you to get some other kind of meat.
So
But the biggest thing is
it's an
really,
action-based game, right?
yeah, I want to say the biggest thing is really fighting the monster, and it's third person. You go into these zones in the previous games, and the new one it'll be open world. But you go out of the village, and there will be lots of medium-sized monsters for you to fight that are probably no bigger than you are, and then you're going to come across the bigger ones that are going to take you some time to kill, or you may need some assistance from a friend to help kill. It's very, very action based, and you have to dodge or block if you have a shield. Otherwise, you will fucking die. And there is no getting around that. You got to be on your feet.
So is there you level up too? Are there different like leveling systems for
You
different types of player? Like if I wanted to play with not a great sword and just wanted to do like a thief.
I believe those skills kind of level up, but you don't. They're not. And I could be wrong. So if you're watching, you can correct me if I am wrong. Um, it's not a huge bonus. It's just like a slight bonus to using said weapons. Uh, the main thing is making better versions of the weapons with the better parts that you get from killing bigger monsters.
All right, is it kind of like control wise? You're saying that you want to use controller over a keyboard and mouse. What are your main attacks? Like, is it just like a melee? Is it kind of like a fighting game?
It is kind of like a fighting game. It's very action based. So like let's say if you're using a two-handed sword, you're going to be hitting uh, like X to jump, and you can mount the monsters as well. If you mount them, you tend to do more damage because it's like a pinning kind of move. But so like yeah, you would hit like square to swing your sword one way, circle to do another kind of maneuver, and you would use the joysticks to like dodge out of the way of stuff. Um, while keeping your keep swinging essentially, and you want to try to do combos and do your bigger hits.
Well, in that being the case, if this does come out on PC, like on Steam, let me know. That sounds like something I would actually play.
Okay, all right.
Well,
I'm not a big MMO guy, but running around hacking and slashing stuff, that's right in my wheelhouse.
I don't think it's going to be an MMO. I think it's going to essentially be kind of like Borderlands. Like we'll be able to join up with each other and be in the same giant map, but it's not going to be like you're going to see 100 people. It's just going to be whoever you invite.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah,
well,
keep us posted.
Brandon, would you want to play Dauntless on PC?
I would have to see actual reviews of people before I even attempted it. And the reason I say that is because Trevor said it the other night. Every Monster Hunter copy that has come out ever is just a bad Monster Hunter, and they're not good.
So, I just want to clarify: if it's a bad Monster Hunter, it's not good.
Correct. Haha. But like, you know what I mean? Like they're bad copies, and so they're not worth playing.
Well, what would it take for it to not be a copy? I mean, to have the same genre but not be a copy.
Actually, make a good fucking game. Like
So,
not fuck up the
your
crafting
only thing
system.
is to
Like
not have a shitty game.
yes, not have it be a shitty game. If you have a decent crafting system and have the decent fighting mechanics and a good variety of weapons to take down monsters, I'm game for that.
All right.
But
Well, I'll let you know how it is whenever I get it.
I want to say if you fuck up those components, it messes up a lot of other things, and then it fails.
All right. Well, that sounds like it's going to be interesting when it comes out. But we got another game to talk about here. Ryan, take it away with Warframe.
Plains of Eidolon is launched finally. Thank God. It's been a long wait. The DLC update, if you will, has been released. It's got its pros and it's got its cons. It's a complete overhaul of the current mechanics and how the game works. Because for the longest time, it's just been you're in a spaceship or you're on a small map. This is a completely open-ended area. It's not open-ended, but it's a very large map, and you can go wherever you want. There are new segments for flying around in your Arcwing. Jose, can you put picture number 1 up?
It's up already.
All right. So to get into the Plains of Eidolon, you have to go through Cetus, which is one of the new locations on your map for Earth. because you haven't gone to the plains yet. So you go to Cetus and you'll go into a bazaar. A bunch of different shops will be there. If you go to the next photo, you can see me talking to a guy named Kanzu. He can give you quests to earn credits that you can spend at the bazaar. If you go to picture number 3, it shows you what the quests look like. You also get other rewards other than just the credits to the local area. So that's how you can farm for the new Warframe Gara's parts. So that is interesting as well. After you receive a quest from him, you'll go through some gates, which will be in the next photo. You can see me standing there in front of the gates. After you pass through the gates, you're in the plains, and you can re-enter the plains whenever you want from your ship after you've gone there once. The next photo after the gates, is that the one you have up?
Yep.
Number 4, is me fighting an Eidolon. They're not quite as big as some of the artwork that has been shown. They are rather tall, but they're not over dramatized like mountain high. They're hard. They are legitimately hard. They only come out at night or dusk, as you see in the picture, but the daytime is mainly set. It mainly has a difficulty level for entry level players or medium level players, and the Eidolons are the big baddies that come out at nighttime. And I've been playing the game since beta, so I'm pretty well stocked with gear, and I couldn't take one down. They've added mechanics, which I like, which is the direction that they've been going into since the War Within, where you have to use your Tenno to basically just damage its shields with Tenno abilities, and then jump back in your Warframe and then take it down the rest of the way. That's still a rumor. I haven't seen any videos of anyone taking one down recently, but I'm sure we'll discover more as time goes on. And if I'm wrong and there's a video of someone taking it down tonight, the more the merrier. I'll go just link it, and I'll follow the link and figure out how to do it. So because I'm interested in seeing what rewards you get from defeating one. The next photo, 4.5, Jose, that one. It's just an overlook of more of the plains. There's pillars or buildings that are up in the distance, or you can go far beyond past that. I think it's weird that some of the water in the map is too deep, and if you go into it, you die, which seems kind of.
So there's no swimming.
Well, they're swimming in other maps, so that's why whenever there's deep water that kills you in the plains, I'm like, this is stupid, and that gets into some of my gripes. Like, it's nice that you can fly your Arcwing around and you can do aerial battle with the Eidolons in your Arcwing, but you have to complete quests to get a segment for your ship. And then on top of that, after you craft the segment, there's a limit to how many times you can call your Arcwing down from your ship without having to recraft new parts, so that way you can use it. And of course, the new parts that you have to use to create it are within the plains. So that's kind of nice that it's all wrapped into one area, but it is what it is. The new merchants are nice.
You got to take me through the whatever area first, then like invite me to the plains, or however you were going to do it.
No, yeah, I can take you to Cetus, and we'll go through the bazaar. I'll show you which shops have different things. Some shops will sell you fishing parts and lures, and other ones will sell you the new customizable weapons.
I want to say I don't have much. I have my Frost Prime, and that's it.
Speaking of which, there is another Twitch Prime giveaway for Warframe. If you join Twitch Prime with the 30-day trial, you can download. You don't actually have to physically download it. You link your Twitch account to your Warframe account, and you can get free Prime weapons and Warframes. You can get the Soma Prime, which is really good, and I recommend anyone who doesn't have it already and isn't linked to Twitch Prime, go and do that right away, because the Soma is a really awesome weapon to have. The Sendo Prime, it's pretty good. If you need a weapon, having a Prime weapon, it's not a bad thing. It's definitely going to help, as well as getting Frost Prime. That's how you got it, right, Brandon?
Yeah, that's how I got Frost Prime. And so the crappy part is if you already linked your accounts and you have Twitch Prime, you don't get this stuff. So
What if you unlink your Twitch, create a new Twitch account, and then link it up? Is that possible?
but then I would need to sign up for Twitch Prime, and I don't want to because I actually subscribe to Twitch Prime for Amanda.
Oh, okay.
So
And if you guys are playing these games, also just I think it's good to mention you can meet up with these guys. You got Todd Pyro and Brandon. Your username in these
Reaper.
games?
Reaper, always. Usually with 2 R's at the end or 1183. But it's really not a huge variation off that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can post all my clan information in the bottom of the video, and you guys can play with us whenever you want. Just reach out, and we can go run some missions.
All right. So that's the overview of Warframe there. And so there's a couple other things before we go. We had one person wanted to and ask us a question here. So let me go ahead and pull that up. And Brandon, I think you were going to take this one, right?
Well, I figured we could all talk about it because I mean it was posted to mine, but I think maybe we all have different opinions. The question was from my friend Lucas, who says, if you never saw Star Wars or don't care about any comic book superhero, it doesn't matter which one, are you still a geek or a nerd or whatever you want to call it? And I think it depends. If you're, I think, super into one kind of subject, like I think that maybe fit into certain categories, whether it's comics, sci-fi, fantasy, or computer, I would say maybe technical related or science related, then I would think you fit into that category of geek or nerd. What are your thoughts?
Well, see, the thing is, I think you can be a geek or a nerd about anything. Anything you really enjoy, that you're passionate about, that you like to spend a lot of time doing, you can geek out on that.
You can geek out on it, but I would say it's different. So if you have a guy who's like super into cars and he's got engine parts and that's what he does, he like builds cars, I would not call that person a geek or a nerd.
They're a car nerd. It's exactly what they are. They may not like to hear that, but that's exactly what they are.
But the rest of society would not consider it.
Because it's more mainstream.
Right.
I mean, as geek and nerds become mainstream, thanks to Big Bang Theory. But before that, like, I feel like there was closet nerds and closet geeks, and
I know for sure there's closet nerds and closet geeks that may like some of these subjects.
but it's subject related. Like, you said,
yeah.
a car guy wouldn't be necessarily a geek.
Or
like
someone who's super into sports would not be. I think geek's connotation is in regards to certain types of subjects.
So let's touch on that for a second. So let's talk about sports. There are people out there who can just rattle off statistics.
Yeah.
What year,
Absolutely.
who played what position they were in, how the outcome came, why it turned out that way, the things that happened behind the scene. You don't think that person's a sports nerd?
Oh no, they are, because it's
but most people would not consider them to be. I think it's because
just because they call themselves something else doesn't make them not it. I think if you're a nerd about something, you're a nerd, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong about being passionate and loving something that you're interested in and trying to share it with other people.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with it either. I just don't think it fits into the category of nerd.
Well, so like we have
So for example, you have Dragon Con, which is a nerd convention. You don't see a whole bunch of stuff about sports and cars there.
bullshit.
Not usually. It's not your typical thing. You don't have panels dedicated to the fucking NBA.
No, there's no Quidditch panel. That's not considered a sport in
Oh
nerddom.
my God.
There's no cars like Back to the Future, the Batman cars.
I didn't say that cars don't exist, but there are no panels for talking
Muscle
about
cars.
engines and muscle cars.
What about
There's no panels for the NBA. There's no panels for the NFL.
So do you consider, and I'm going to try to word myself right here because I know Ryan's going to jump down my shit when I say this, but do you consider machine heads and people in robotics enthusiasts different?
Well, Brandon. Well,
But me, I think that if you're a robotic enthusiast, that's the technical and science aspect of it. So yes, you would be a nerd.
And you don't think there's a technical and scientific aspects to engines?
It's not in the same realm.
I disagree.
I mean, it
Ryan?
kind of is, but it is also kind of not. It's hard to.
I'm looking at his face. He wants to say something so bad.
well, dude, there are plenty of engineers that I've known through working in aerospace who don't give a shit about Marvel or
Oh yeah,
anime
for sure.
or comics or movies and they don't even play games on their computer. They don't even know how a computer works. They're an electrical engineer. How the fuck does that work? I don't know. But he still had an interest in learning about electronics and engineering. That doesn't make him a nerd that he liked those things. He likes engineering, but it's when you go above and beyond something, like you were saying, Jose, about the statistics of sports. It's whenever you take something well beyond what the normal person likes. You know, like I know people who like anime, but they don't love anime. They like anime. And they wouldn't consider themselves nerds or geeks because they like anime. They still think that they're cool and they're mainstream, and if you call them a geek or a nerd, they get pissed off.
Yeah, see, and I think that's part of the issue that we're having here with this conversation is the geek and nerd still have this negative connotation attached to them, and I want to get rid of that. I want that to go away. I want it to be okay to be a geek or nerd.
I think it is okay to be a geek or a nerd, and I don't think it's really necessarily negative anymore. I just think it has to do with particular subjects. It's almost like calling someone a jock because they're into sports and fitness. Or
what about
a ditz because they're not. I think it's something like that. It's like it's categories.
What about BattleBots?
That's a pretty nerdy thing. In my opinion.
I would venture a guess that greater than 50% of people that participate in BattleBots also watch sports.
Oh, I don't. There are lots of nerds who also watch sports, but sports is not something. And I get what you're saying. That sports would not be attached necessarily to the geek or nerd categories, because it's typically in the past has not been a nerdy or geeky category.
Hey, I got a trump card, Brandon.
What?
Jonathan.
So Jonathan is for sure a nerd or a geek, but he doesn't want to admit it.
Huge nerdy, geeky computer. Maybe he doesn't know the same movie stuff that we do, but the dude's he's a geek. He's a nerd.
He built an arcade machine from scratch, like a Pac-Man machine.
Yeah, we're calling you out, nerd.
But I think what the bottom line is here is that it's an identification. It's self-identification. If you identify as that, then you're fine with being labeled as that by society. And if you're not okay with being called that, then you're gonna rebel against someone who calls you a geek or a nerd. And so I think it comes down to the individual whether or not, hey, they just embrace that term, you know, and whether or not three idiots on a podcast can determine whether or not the mainstream thinks that it's a good thing or a bad thing, it's beyond us. But it's really personal preference on whether or not that's what they want to identify as.
Of course, it's a personal preference. I'm just saying that if somebody refers to you as that, it's not necessarily, they're not calling you something bad. You know, they're saying that you're passionate about what you do, that you know what you're talking about, that you're interested in this. You know, like, so for example, you know, we talk about movies and stuff like that. I consider myself a movie geek. You guys start talking about anime, and I'm like, what the fuck language are you speaking?
But you like most of the categories that would be in the geekdom world.
But I also like sports. I also like engineering.
You can like those things and still. That's what I mean. Like, you can like those things and still be a nerd. I'm not saying you can't. I just think that you have to like some of the nerdy things to be considered a nerd.
See, and you're kind of it almost sounds like you have an elitist attitude about it now. It's like, well, if you weren't into it before,
no.
Yeah, Brandon, we're getting our pitchforks and we're going to your house.
Yeah, I don't mean like that, but I mean like I think to be considered a nerd, you'd have to like computers or science or comics. I think it's got to be one of these kinds of subjects, because you would not call out your typical jock who may know some of those that crazy stuff about sports, like, oh, in 56 this person won this goal and they ran this many yards. I'm like, I know a lot of people know that. I would not consider them a geek unless they happen to like something in the fields that I mentioned. Whether it's,
if they call themselves a geek in that, are you going to try to take that away from them?
I would not probably. I mean, but I would probably be like, well, like, what do you mean? Like, what do you like? That's you know, like, do you like any of this? And like, I don't know. Like, I thought.
So you would try to take it away from them. You want them to prove themselves to you.
I don't know how to explain it. I feel like you do have to like some kind of quote unquote nerdy subject.
See.
Whether it doesn't have to be comics, it doesn't have to be superheroes, it doesn't have to be movies, but I think it has this, and it's grown for sure. I just essentially don't think sports is one of those subjects that would make you a nerd.
See, you look at being a nerd as a community, whereas I see being a nerd as a label, or an adjective. Basically, it describes you.
Yeah.
You know, and what you're in, and how you are interested in something. So, I don't know. Being a nerd is not a bad thing, and I will call whoever the fuck I want a nerd, because they're into whatever it is that they're into so much. You know, there are makeup nerds, there are engine nerds, there are fucking sports nerds. They're all over the place. Nerds. So, all right. Well, it was an interesting question. So, you know, I'm glad we got to spend some time talking about that. And what do you guys think? If you're watching this, you're probably a fucking nerd, right? So let us know what you think. What does it take to be a nerd? Can anybody be a nerd? You know, do you have to fall into certain categories like Brandon thinks in order to be a nerd? You know, just leave us your comments. Tell us what you think. And last but not least, something nerdy. I got my Marvel Collector's Core box.
Nice.
And I haven't opened it yet, and I have no idea what's in it.
And see, going back to that subject though, why is that nerdy?
Because I really like Marvel. You know, so I'm going to go ahead and open this puppy up. Let's see.
Man, all the knife nerds are gonna be like, man, you didn't have a better knife to open that box with?
Yeah, I know, right? They're gonna be like, what the fuck is that? Okay, so what do we got
That's
here?
not a knife. Oh, nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, and it's let me hold on, let me see it. And like so it's I like the fact that it's not a um pop
It's not a
version.
fuck.
Pop. POP.
So then
Oh,
there's
never mind. That's the card. Okay.
yeah, there's a little stuff on the back here, which I haven't read yet. Actually, you're kind of getting to see it more than I have so far.
Oh, God damn it. I think I just saw something that I'm disappointed now.
What is this? This is a thing. Oh, damn it. Don't they know that some people live in Florida?
What is it?
You'll find out.
It's a beanie, isn't it? Yep.
Oh, instead of a hat? Or instead of a hat. Instead of a shirt?
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far into the box yet.
Oh.
So I honestly don't even know what this is. So
It's like it's a beanie hat. Oh, that's the Hulk.
I know it's the Hulk, but what's the writing?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea what that writing is. All right, let's see what else we got here. We got some. Are these? Oh, these are magnets. Okay, so I guess refrigerator magnets.
All right.
See that? There you go. That looks a little bit better. So you got Hulk, Thor, Loki, and Hela on there. So
They left Valkyrie out.
they left Valkyrie out. And you know what? I'm not going to get to the pops yet. I'm going to do the other stuff. What is this? Thor Ragnarok playing cards.
All right.
They're kind of
Okay,
small.
Are they? They're not normal size?
Look at my hand.
I don't know if that's normal
You just
size.
had big hands.
I have big hands. I do have big hands. But these are small. But anyway. What else we got here? This is a Marvel Collector's Core pin with Hela on it.
All right. There should be a patch too, right?
I don't know. Still digging. I am not a fan of this. Not because of what it is, just because of what it is.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because I saw the picture on that cardboard.
Stupid
Fucking fidget spinner.
fidget spinner.
Fuck yeah, man. Vape and fidget spin.
Bullshit.
Yeah, Jose, there is a fidget spinner that fits up here on your vape, so you can fidget while you vape.
So we got. See if I can see that's Loki. See that? And you got. I don't know who that is.
I'm assuming Hela.
No, there's no horns on there. Maybe there is. And we got Jeff Goldblum. Then on the other side, you got the Hulk and Thor and someone else.
I'm assuming Valkyrie.
That looks like a dude.
I don't know. It looks like Valkyrie from here, dude.
Hold on, let's see. Try to get a better focus on it.
I think that's Valkyrie. You can see little eyelashes.
Those are eyebrows. I don't know who it is, and I don't care.
I'll see tomorrow. It's probably Valkyrie.
So, we motherfuckers.
Fucking fidget spinner.
This is so stupid. Why is this entertaining? Why are people like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever?
Just wait, man. Just wait. First, you're gonna start out going, "Hey, man, this is kind of amusing," and then boom, your desk is gonna be covered in them like herpes.
That's definitely spinning a while.
Well, it's just a fucking ball bearing in there. I mean,
you can have shitty bearings though. You can have ABEC 3s.
So they gave me a quality bearing. Ooh.
Hey, man, that's pretty good, man. You should make a video of you just spinning that thing.
I am right now.
Oh, that's like 1,000 RPMs. Yeah, that's 1,000 RPMs.
Actually, it probably is like 1,000
You're
RPMs.
probably right. I'd be interested in actually figuring that out. It's still spinning. I mean, I could probably stay here for another 5 minutes.
Yeah, it is actually a quality bearing.
So that's that. Well, now, so yeah, to answer your previous question, Brandon, yes, it is a beanie instead of a hat. No, I mean, instead of a shirt.
You did it too.
And then, I'm happy about this. I'm pretty fucking happy about this. Now, in case you can't tell, this is obviously a Thor Ragnarok themed box. And I got 2 pops here.
Yeah, I knew about the Loki.
Loki and Thor. I got my pops and I'm happy. And you know what? Yeah, that was fucking nerdy right there. So, looking forward to seeing that. Movie comes out on my birthday.
So there's no comic?
There's no comic.
God damn it. I'm actually kind of disappointed with the box now.
Here's the inside of the box.
Like, I like getting the comics, and I also like getting the shirt. I know it's a hat this time, and I know I'm looking to move up north. Oh, I'll actually stop so you can watch the box.
Well, I wanted a Thor Ragnarok T-shirt myself, but you know, you get what you get. But I really like that they put the effort into making these boxes interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've actually kept all mine, and I use them for different things. And so, when I want, say, my few Lego set or Mega Block sets, rather, Aaron would kill me if I called them Legos.
They're stupid Legos.
Aaron would completely disagree. And anyway, so I have that, and I know when I look over here because I actually have them along my wall. If I grab my Spider-Man one, I know I'm grabbing Mega Blocks.
Right, gotcha. Actually, what's interesting to me, or I don't know about interesting, but this might hurt your feelings, Brandon. But in general, I open these boxes, I geek out a little bit, then I put everything right back in the box. Because I'm in my shitty little apartment still, and I have no place to display them.
Fair enough, but I mean, you wear some of the shirts, right?
I do wear the shirts. I don't put the shirts back in the box.
Yeah, so like I put the pin and the patch away in a little shelf thing because I think I'm going to use the patches on something one year. I'm not really sure what yet. I don't know if I want to do like a blanket or maybe patch them onto a backpack or something to that effect. I'll probably do the same with the pins. The comics I actually read, and I put them along with my other comics in my collection. I don't have a huge collection, but that's why I like getting these comics with it.
Yeah, see, when I'm going to be moving in January, so I just put the stuff back in the boxes, so that way I don't have to pack it. I don't have to risk losing stuff. You know, I just when the time comes, I'll just take the boxes, and wherever I end up, I'll figure out where to put them.
And the pops, I'm probably going to get rid of a couple, but I've kept most of them. I definitely like the Spider-Man. I'm going to like Loki.
I'll admit, I wasn't a fan of the original Iron Man pop.
See that one I actually don't mind. Is the original Iron Man. The Vision. I didn't like the Wolverine that much.
I don't have Wolverine yet, so you must have joined before I did.
Yes. There was another one too that I didn't really like that much. I don't really like my Darth Maul. Mind you, that's not from the Marvel Core box, but I have it in general. I don't really like the Darth Maul pop. I thought there was one other one, but I don't remember what it is now.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Hopefully you enjoyed our ramblings and our bullshit. And if not, tell us so in the comments. If you agree with us, tell us so in the comments. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe. And we're working on trying to get some more stuff in the works so that we can produce some more content, and we'll let you know how that's coming once we have something to actually tell you. But I had a great time, and thanks for you guys for joining. You guys have any closing thoughts?
Go see Thor Ragnarok in 2 weeks, and go play some games with me and Ryan if you get the chance.
I'm going to Thor Ragnarok on my birthday.
My birthday's not until after that, so
Actually, you know what? It's probably coming out. You know how they do that. This is something we should probably talk about on one of these stupid episodes. But it's releasing on Friday, November 3rd. But it's coming out on Thursday, just like every other fucking movie that comes out on Friday.
I will be seeing it Thursday, November 2nd.
So I'm probably going to see it Thursday, November 2nd myself, but that sort of ruins the whole it's coming out on my birthday thing.
You can see the midnight show.
I don't want to wait that long. Maybe I'll see the midnight show as well.
If you are local to us, I should say local to me and Ryan, because now Jose is somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm over in Tampa.
But if you're local to any of us, you're more than welcome to join us to watch the movie. I plan on seeing it at one of two places. I actually did not look yet to see if the local IMAX theater will be displaying it in regular 2D or if it's 3D only. If it's 2D, I will be attending the Carmike or AMC, whatever it's called, up on Palm Bay Road Thursday. Otherwise, I will be going to the Oaks on Hibiscus.
And I'm going to be seeing it actually, I know at least twice. On Thursday, I'll probably be seeing it at Studio Movie Grill in Tampa on Fowler near the university. On Friday night, I'm actually going to an exclusive screening that's being put on by ISC. They got a screening just for ISC members.
Nice.
So I'm going to be seeing that. I'm not really sure which theater that's in yet. And then if it's as good as everybody says it is, I'll probably be seeing it a few more times after that.
12 times?
I don't know about that many. It's no Avengers. It's the Revengers. So, all right, Ryan, any closing thoughts?
I'm good.
All right. Well, hopefully we will be back to our Wednesday time slot next week, barring any more stupid technical issues. But on behalf of Brandon and Ryan and myself, thanks for watching.
Peace out.